man was standing on the ledge of a building, about to jump. His life flashed before his eyes. He was about to end it all. It wasn't that he hated his life. He had a great family, good friends, a loving girlfriend, and a promising career. But he had recently been diagnosed with a terminal illness and was given only 3 months to live. And when the doctors told him there was no cure for his condition, he lost all hope. Just as he was about to take the plunge, he saw something that made him hesitate. A young woman was walking by and she was smiling. She was enjoying the fresh air and the sunshine. Her smile was so beautiful and so full of life that the man couldn't help but smile back. At that moment, he felt a sense of connection with her. He didn't know why, but he knew that he didn't want to ruin it. So, he climbed back over the ledge and walked away. He never forgot the young woman who had saved his life. He often wondered what had become of her and how she was doing. One day, he decided to do something crazy. The man managed a sketch photo of that lovely lady and set out to find her. He had only a few months to live and he wanted to spend the time with the woman who had saved his life. As soon as he arrived, he started asking people if they had seen her. He went to the place where he first saw her, but after weeks of searching, he became very melancholy. Just when he was about to give up hope, he met an old man who said he might be able to help him. The old man was a retired detective and he had worked on many missing persons cases. He listened to the man's story and then told him to meet him at a local bar. The man sat down and ordered a drink. He was feeling discouraged, but he was also hopeful. Maybe this old man would be able to help him find the woman he was looking for. Just then, a woman sat down next to him. She was the same age as the man, and she had a kind face and gentle eyes. "Can I help you?" she asked. The man hesitated, but then he decided to tell her his story. He told her about the woman who had saved his life and how he had been searching for her for years. "I know that smile," the woman said suddenly. "You mean Sarah?" The man's heart skipped a beat. "Yes, Sarah, is she here?" "She's here," the woman said, "but I don't think she remembers you." The man's face fell. He had come all this way only to be rejected by the woman he had saved. He stood up to leave, but the woman stopped him. "Wait," she said. "I think she will want to see you." The woman led the man through a maze of streets until they reached a small park. There, sitting on a bench, was the woman from the building. She looked little different now, but it was definitely her. The man hesitated, but then he walked up to her and introduced himself. The woman smiled and said she remembered him. "I knew you'd come looking for me someday," she said. The man was confused. "What do you mean?" "I knew you'd come looking for me someday," the woman repeated, "because you're the one who saved my life." The man was stunned. He couldn't believe that the woman he had tried to save was actually the woman who had saved his life. "What do you mean?" he asked. The woman explained that she had been suicidal when he had stopped her from jumping off the building. She had been going through a rough patch in her life and couldn't see a way out. But when she had looked into the man's eyes, she had seen the kindness and compassion in them, and it had given her hope. "You gave me the strength to keep going," she said, "and I will never forget that." The man was overwhelmed with emotion. He had thought he was the one who had saved the woman's life, but it turned out that she had saved his. He thanked her for saving his life and told her how much he appreciated it. They spent the afternoon talking and catching up. The man learned that the woman's name was Sarah and that she had become a successful writer. He also told her about his life and how he had traveled the world and started a business. They talked until the sun began to set, and then they said their goodbyes. Sarah walked the man to his car and then turned to go home. As he watched her walk away, he couldn't help but smile. He had found the woman he had been looking for, and he had learned that he had saved her life. He felt a sense of closure and peace that he had been missing for years. Over the next few weeks, the man and Sarah kept in touch. They exchanged phone numbers and promised to stay in touch. The man was grateful to have found Sarah, and he was even more grateful that she had become an important part of his life. One day, Sarah called the man and asked him to meet her for lunch. When he arrived at the restaurant, he could tell that something was wrong. Sarah's usually bright and cheerful face was clouded with worry. "What's wrong, Sarah?" he asked. Sarah took a deep breath and then told him the truth. She had been diagnosed with a terminal illness and only had a few months to live. The man was shocked. He couldn't believe that Sarah was facing the same situation as he is also facing. He listened as she poured out her heart, telling him about her fears and her sadness. He could see that she was in a lot of pain and he wanted to help her, but he didn't know what to say or do. He had been through this before and he knew how helpless and scared she must feel. When Sarah finished speaking, the man reached out and took her hand. He told her that he was sorry she was going through this and that he would be there for her. He didn't know how he was going to help her, but he was determined to try. Over the next few weeks, the man became a regular fixture in Sarah's life. He visited her often, bringing her food and helping her with daily tasks. He also listened patiently as she talked about her fears and her hopes for the future. One day, the man was sitting with Sarah when she had a sudden realization. "You know," she said, "you saved my life once and now I'm saving yours." The man was confused. "What do you mean?" Sarah explained that by being there for her, the man was giving her the strength to keep going. "You're giving me the hope I need to face this challenge," she said, "and for that, I will be forever grateful." The man was moved by Sarah's words. He hadn't realized that he was making such an impact on her, but he was glad to be able to help her. He continued to visit Sarah every day until her illness took her away from him. When she died, the man was heartbroken. He had grown to love Sarah and he would miss her dearly, but he was also grateful to have been able to help her in her final days. In the weeks following Sarah's death, the man found himself becoming more withdrawn and depressed. He had been so focused on helping Sarah that he hadn't taken the time to take care of himself. Now that she was gone, he was feeling the effects of his neglect. He knew he needed to do something to get his life back on track, but he just didn't know what to do. One day, the man was walking in the park when he saw a group of children playing. He stopped to watch them for a while, and as he did, he couldn't help but smile. The children were so full of life and joy, and it reminded him of the woman who had saved his life all those years ago. At that moment, the man had a realization. He knew what he had to do. He decided to start a foundation in Sarah's honor to help people who were struggling with suicidal thoughts or who needed someone to talk to. He wanted to be a beacon of hope for people who were going through tough times, just like Sarah had been for him. The man worked tirelessly to make his dream a reality. He reached out to other organizations, raised money for his foundation, and recruited volunteers. It wasn't easy, but he was determined to make a difference. Finally, the day came when the foundation was up and running. The man held a grand opening ceremony and invited the community to attend. He spoke to the crowd about his vision for the foundation and how it would help people in need. As the event drew to a close, the man looked out at the crowd and smiled. He knew that Sarah would have been proud of him. With the help of his foundation, he was able to make a real difference in people's lives, and that made him feel good about himself. From that day forward, the man dedicated his life to helping others. He traveled around the country, speaking to groups about suicide prevention and mental health awareness. He also worked hard to raise money for his foundation, so that he could continue to help people in need. The man never forgot the two women who had saved his life. He often thought about how their kindness and compassion had changed his life forever. He was grateful for them, and he wanted to honor their memory by helping others. Fortunately, by the strong mindset and help with specialist doctor, he was cured. Many years later, the man looked back on his life with pride. He knew that he had made a difference in the world, and that made him happy. He had started out as a man who was desperate and alone, but he had found hope and redemption through helping others. And it all started with a smile. The man's story is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. It's also a reminder that one small act of kindness can make a world of difference. If you believe that our smile also can make a difference into the world, then share this story with your friends and stay happy.